Okay, any others? At least did you arrive to some kind of thought? We'll try to discuss, don't worry. It's not a competition. We need not really see that we are missing out of time. Anybody?
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Okay, Sunil, before that, we would like let me first ask them, and I'll come back to you. Okay, nothing like I don't want to ask to you. I just want to know what major concept. Siddesh, just tell me what is the first concept. I mean, just tell me the one liner.
Relation, relation is to mention the cardinality,
Hmm.
and
Collection?
by using the relation we can use collection to store the two entities.
No, wrong. Okay,
Okay.
others? Sudhir?
Yes. So, for example, let's say we have this requirement. The UI requirement is to show the list of all orders, just the order numbers display initially, and when the user clicks on the order link, and you can pull up the order details. So let's assume that's the requirement. So the first thing is on the first one, what is it called? The collection. I would just get all the order numbers for that user, display them, and well, I think I lost it. Maybe.
No. Okay. No, Sunil, go ahead.
Yeah, Kiran. If I say there are three tables like user group, user, and order. So I will have collection type between user and orders table, but I will have relation type between user and user group. Why? Because because
No. I was
if
not asking that way. I was not asking you an example for when do you go for relations. I was asking from a technical point of view.
Yeah, if I
From a
delete
technical
user,
perspective, tell.
yeah, if I delete the user, so his order history should not delete it, but he should be deleted from the user group.
You're going till deletion. First of all, talk about inserting data. Okay,
Kiran?
you arrived at a relatively better one. Huh. Okay. Yeah, Venkat Narasimha.
Yeah, so whenever we want to enforce the referential integrity, probably, I mean, we go for the option 2. That way, I mean.
No. We can ignore the referential that particular thing, and we can insert, instead of making it into 2, we can put the same thing into 1 also. That's not a point. Okay, others?
Is it at many-to-many relation when we want to maintain? We go for relations, and one-to-many we go for collection.
No, one-to-many also you will go for relation only, right? That's what I just showed you. Okay. Any
Kiran?
other last attempt? Yeah, go ahead.
Kiran, I'll try. Okay. Say suppose I wanted to talk about only orders. Only orders. So I'll use order collection because it's a predefined set.
Wrong.
Whereas say suppose I wanted to establish a relationship between user and order.
No. Okay, I can understand the answers. I can understand whether it is correct answer or wrong only with one statement. The first line itself of all of your answers will help me out. Okay, guys. One thing. You might be mentioning it as collection type or some blah blah blah, whatever it is. Internally, no database can have infinity as your infinite as your data, your size of the column, right? You define anything, your size of the column will be finite only, right? It will be finite. It will be some 5,000 or 6,000. It will be bounded by a maximum value. Now, you create a column as collection type. That means maximum of, let's say, 3,000 characters for that particular column. That is a bounded value. A data type, any column will be having a maximum amount of fixed set of characters. You cannot say my column can store infinite characters. That's not possible at all practically. Now, if you know that, if you are very sure if you are very sure that my column will store a fixed set of characters, I will go with a collection type. For example, let's say 20 images. One product can store 20 images. Okay, each image, let's say instead of storing it as a blob or clob, I'll put the image in a file server and I'll store the path of the image in my column. Now let's say each URL has maximum of 100 characters. Okay, 100 characters, some slash abc slash pqr slash new folder slash new folder slash product slash 1.jpg. So the complete characters are 100 characters. Let's say maximum of 100 characters, and I have 20 images at maximum. So maximum, including the commas and all, also it will be somewhere less than 250 characters. I define this particular 2500 characters. I try to give this particular column's length as 3000 for safe side. What happens is, if I try to store 3001th character or 3002 character, it will be data flow, overflow. You take a glass, you try to, the glass capacity is let's say 1 liter, you pour water more than 1 liter, data will be overflowed. The maximum value that can be stored in the glass will be 1 liter only. You try to create a column with 3000 characters and you try to overfill it with 3500 characters, the 500 characters would be truncated. Matlab, they will be lost. When you try to fetch, when you try to write a query, that query will return you only 3000 characters. So if you are very sure that yes, this particular column will take only this number of values, and for sure that this particular column will not explode any point of time in real time, go with a collection type. You are not sure whether the number of values for this particular thing will be increased or not. For example, let's say you're talking one user can have multiple orders. I'm talking about a one-to-many only. This is also one-to-many. One product can have 20 images, but 20 is fixed value. It can have only 20 images. Now, one user can have any number of orders, Today you had order 1, order 2, order 3. This fellow is a highly loyal customer, and that fellow started placing some thousands of orders. Over a period of time, this fellow's number of orders that he has placed, let's say each order ID is order Nike order 1001, Nike order 1002. So how many characters are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. 13 plus comma is 14. Let's say 15 characters are there. 15. So you have defined it as a collection type. Over a period of time, there is a possibility that this fellow's number of characters might be increased and it can overflow more than 3000 characters, maybe, because there is no restriction that one user can place only this many number of orders. If you are not sure that the column, the value inside that particular column is limited to many characters, go ahead with a relation. In that case, always try to store it this way: u1 o1, okay, u2 o2. In this way, what is happening? You are never getting the data truncated. Of course, you are trying to iterate over multiple rows. Sorry, u1 o2 only, and u1 o3. You are trying to iterate over multiple values, but you should, because otherwise what will happen? Data will be truncated. So one thing, go with a collection if you know that no, my data will not be truncated and I know that only this much amount of characters needs to be stored. You have to go with a relation. If in case your collection, if you use, there will be a data truncation. I was just trying to give you an example with user with order. There can be several such examples. You will always go with a collection. If you are knowing that only these many values can be stored, you will go with a relation when you know that this much amount of if there is a data truncation, I don't want the data to be truncated, but I want full data to be retrieved, I will go with this kind of design. Second point, is this having a meaning? Just tell me. Select a star from varchar. Is this having a meaning? Guys, somebody.
I don't think so.
Okay, it's not thinking, so it's not having a meaning at all. Okay. Now select a star from string. Is this having a meaning again? So select a star from order collection. Will it make meaning? It's not a table type, it's a data type only, right? So select star from data type is wrong, right? Now whatever user defined, you say you create a column, you create a custom column which can store a string comma whatever it is, but you cannot say select star from data type, right? That is why I directly told you these two and then came to this one. This is not having a meaning, right? But if you say select a star from collection, sorry, relation, you would have a meaning. This has a meaning because there is a join in between. Two entities are there and there is a join in between them. There's a join in between them. Join as in you are trying to select user who's present, the user and order you are trying to fetch. So you would write something like this: select a star from user comma user u comma order o, where u dot oid equal to o dot oid. So you are trying to have this join condition established. So the point here is, guys, you would go over when you go for a relation, you can write your flexible search queries. You remember, right? Hybrid supports flexible search queries. Guys, yes, no? Long back we were talking regarding flexible search
Yeah,
queries.
in HAC we wrote.
That's what. So flexible search queries can be written over relation, but they cannot be written over collection. If you are trying to write a query, you would write it over a relation. You cannot write it over a collection. You can also write it over item types. Ideally, your flexible search query will contain item types. Don't worry. When the item type topic comes, we will talk more about it. So this is it, guys. If you are trying to create a column, okay. First of all, is the first point understood when you would go for a collection and relation? Data truncation concept. Did you understand? Guys, is that clear till data truncation concept? Okay, go ahead. What is the confusion there?
Even I'm not clear, Kiran.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me what is the problem there.
Data truncation. Yes, you are for any data type or any column, we limit the number of characters. Yes, we have the facility of limiting the number of characters, like 256 characters or anything like that.
Let's say you have limited a particular column as 256 characters only. Now you tried inserting 300 characters. What will happen to the extra characters after 256?
They'll not come up. They'll be truncated.
That is what I was trying to say. When you try to save 300 characters in that column and say select a star from that particular column, sorry, select that particular column from the table, you would only get 256 characters, right?
Correct.
So that extra data is completely lost from 257 character to the 300th character, right? 257 to 300. So if you are getting data truncated, what is the use of storing it in the database? If there is a chance of data getting truncated, store it in the relation type, because in relation, no way your data will be truncated, because one row, one column, right? Every column, every value will have its own column. So it will be like U101, U202, U3, U103. So instead of storing all of them in a single column, in a single row, instead of storing them, you are trying to split and save it in multiple rows.
Can you show this in the XML file, items.xml file?
Items.xml file, instead of, see, this is what is your relation. If you try to see country with region, okay, you're in country item type, you are not creating a column called region and storing it as collection. You cannot have a collection and relation at the same time. That is why we cannot show it. See, there is this item type called country. There is this item type called region. One country can have how many regions? One country can have how many states?
Many states.
So if at all you want to establish a relation, you can establish it as one country can have multiple regions. Region can be an, it can be a state, it can be a city, it can be a district, depends upon the kind of design that you want. Now if you try to create this as a collection, what will happen? One country has this many cities only. It sound like data truncation is maximum going to happen? One country can have only these number of cities. 3000 characters only you can use to store cities. Does it sound that data will be truncated or not?
Yeah, data will get truncated, but I wanted to see that specific tag.
Specific tag of?
The collection types. Go to any collection type and show me one.
So if you go to collection type, see, cart collection, order collection. This means this is a type which can store list of carts or list of orders, or similar to list of abstract orders, list of payment modes, list of payment infos. So you are trying to create a collection which can store a set of this, a list of this, a collection of this. So you know that it can only store these values. Now you go to your item type. Okay, yesterday we have seen, right, what was having. So let us try to go for this. Okay, here you have orders and you have mentioned it as order collection. You just go to the top. What is this item type? Users. One user is having, see here, one user is having cards as cart collection. So probably they must have defined it as internally a collection. No, if you open the cards attribute, you remember this one, right? When we talked about cards and orders, I showed you the orders tab in the users section, customer, and then we could see the card getting created to him when the card was transferred from anonymous to logged in customer. We could see it in the orders tab. Do you remember that?
Yes.
In the UI. So there they are trying to fix the number of cards so that user can have only this number of cards. If you are trying to create it a card as a card collection, after a set of cards are done, you cannot add any more cards. That will happen if you are going with this kind of design. Only that number of cards can be created. You will have to limit that. You cannot extend it by saying it can have any number of. See, the length of the collection will also depend on that kind of database that you are working on. For example, in SQL, varchar maximum can be 3000, I think, but for MySQL it can be 5000. You need to know what is the strength of your columns, number of characters that can be stored. You would always go for it. You would go with this kind of stuff if you are not trying to write a query over cards. With respect, by joining users and cards, you want to write a query, then you should go with a relation. If you want to write a query by joining users and cards, because these two are two different data types, right? Two different types. User is a one type, cart is another type. You want to write a query by joining these two, go for a relation. You don't want to write a query, then in that case you can go for a collection. Still question marks? See, one thing is, to be very easy, try to think it this way. If one user can have fixed number of, see, one product has a fixed set of images. You defined it as in product table. Imagine this, in product table you created a column called image. This image is, let's say, a collection. In product table you have a column called image. Now this image is a collection. Now because this is a collection, you can give multiple values to this particular column. In this particular column you can say 1.jpg, 2.jpg, 3.jpg, 4.jpg. You can give it. Over a period of time, because you have mentioned it as a collection type, internally in the database it would be some 200 characters or 300 characters, some fixed set of characters, some 1000 characters will be allotted for this particular column. Now, because a table is already created, table can only be created once. At the time of creation only, it has defined it as 1000 characters. Because it has defined as 1000 characters, you can only enter at a max of 1000 characters. Brilliant. Today you were very happy. You gave only two images. Two images occupied only 200 characters. Let's say first image occupied some 100 characters URL. Second also occupied some 100 characters, some slash abc slash pqr slash new folder slash, that complete path you gave, and you said 1.jpg comma full path you gave and said slash 2.jpg. Two images you gave. When you try to run your query, it will work fine. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you inserted two more images, it will work absolutely fine. Over a period of time, you have exceeded the limit of 1000 characters. Now what happens when you try to give a new path? The data will not be stored in the column, because 1000 characters limit is done. You are trying to force feed more than 1000 characters in the same column. It will not be able to store the data in the same column, because its capacity is only 1000 characters. It's already full. Now you are trying to force feed something. You try to insert some data and then try to run a query. It can return only a maximum of 1000. Your extra data over after 1000 characters is all lost. If you are in this kind of situation, the data will be lost if I try to insert data in future. Then go with a relation. If you are going with a relation, instead of 1.jpg comma 2.jpg comma 3.jpg, it will be like this: p1 1.jpg, p1 2.jpg, p1 3.jpg. So there will be three rows instead of one row with three values in the same column. You got the point? One column storing three values. Instead of that, there will be three rows. Each row will have one value in the column. You got my point? So from a larger picture, if you are trying to predict that in future there is a possibility of data truncation going to happen, I will always go with a relation. Okay? If I'm pretty much sure that no, this will never happen, I will go with a collection. That is what is the basic funda between relation and collection. It is ultimately boiling down to your data in the database. If you are pretty much sure that no, this is not going to happen, then you can go ahead with it's ultimately how I define my column in the database, in my table. If I want a table to be created, of this kind of in this kind of a way, if I want to create it in this kind of a way, I would go with a collection. But if I'm not sure that if this is going to expand in future, okay, if this is going to expand in future and there are plenty of values that can be stored, then there's a possibility that there is a data overflow to happen. If this is the case that is going to happen, and if I did not predict what will happen, I would lose some data when I try to save it or fetch it. If that is going to happen, it is a very costly operation. You cannot recover the data again. That is why go ahead with a relation. If you are not sure whether it will impact your future courses of work and all, go ahead with relations instead of collection. That's what I was trying to say. If you are having it as a collection is also a data type only. It's a data type. So every data type is limited by a set of characters that you have. So over that, you cannot store extra values. If you are trying to store extra values than your limit, then you will certainly lose data. So this is what is the point that I was trying to tell you. Any more doubts here, you can still talk to me.
What is the advantage when you can go with relation? Why do you actually bring in something like collection type? Because relationship is giving whatever you want.
Okay, if you are pretty much sure that only 3 values or 4 values can be stored in that, why do you require 4 rows? Why do you require 4 rows when you already know that I can store all of them in a single column? See, returning one row is easier, or returning 4 rows is easier?
Obviously one row.
So that's what. If you are fixed that okay, this is what I was trying to expect and this is what will be stored, go ahead with one row. Why to store it in 4 rows?
Okay.
Got the point?
Yeah.
So it all depends upon the kind of case you take up. Okay. So once you do your data modeling, you will always sit with your team lead, technical architect, and senior manager who's technically sound and all. Once you start your work, that's how you try to bring in, okay, this column can be expanded in future. Probably the kind of relation will be a little difficult for us to analyze as of now. No, because you have it, always don't go for relations. Always don't go for relations. Try to adjust your design which can accommodate both collections and relations. Because if you're always going with relations, what will happen is there will be a there will be a separate query that you need to write to fetch the data, which will because you are storing it in two different tables, because of which you are trying to have a where condition. Where condition is again a join. Okay, if you're having a join, the query will have to fetch data from two tables instead of a single table, so the performance might be impacted. I'm not saying that it will be huge impactful, but if that's how your design should be, then go ahead. If performance and all come next, but first of all, your work should be completed I mean your achieve you should achieve your solution, then try to optimize it. So how to optimize it? You can do it at design way, or probably with some alternative techniques you can achieve it. If somebody who can if somebody is there who can understand database level concepts, you have to sit with them and try to design your table. First of all, design your table practically, and then try to see how you can achieve it in items.xml file. You can achieve everything in items.xml file, whatever you are trying to create in normal SQL script. All the DDL scripts that you write are the same thing that can be achieved using your items.xml file.
So one point, if you are using a collection, you're talking only with respect to one table, but if you're using relation, you're talking with respect to two tables.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you are talking about collection, it is only single table, because one user can have one product can have multiple images. So there will be a column called image in product table only, which is of collection type. But if you are talking about relation, you have two tables. One is product table, one is image table. You would only store the image table's primary key in the product table, so that you will have a join condition.
Now it makes sense to me.
Others, go ahead.
So for
Kiran?
relation, sorry.
Yes, Ailija, go ahead.
So for relation type, like you said before, they can be unlimited, right? There is no limit on
There
how
is
many
no
number
limit,
of
because
characters.
you can have any number of rows.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead. Others.
Kiran, this is Wasim. Maybe I missed a few concepts past classes. You said relationship could be retrieved using query, right?
You can
Flexible
write a
search
query over relation. So you can say select the star from whatever relation type you write. So what is this
What
relation?
about collection types? If I were to retrieve collection type, how would I?
Collection type is not a physical entity, right? Collection type is not a physical entity. It's a data type. You cannot say select the star from integer, right?
Yes.
Similarly, can I say select star from list?
No.
Because those are data types, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you go for a collection, but if you go for a relation, a relation is between two different entities, right? Two different tables. So if you say select the star from principal group relation, it will try to give the data of members and groups by joining the primary key between these two. Whatever is the common primary key that is there in between these two, it will try to join them. It will give you source, and so it's more like the cross product. What is that? Inner join, outer join concept is there, right? It will try to join these two tables, members and groups, and it will try to give you the data.
My question is, what is the best way to retrieve the collection? Let's say from the Java class, if I were to retrieve collections, how do I, obviously I cannot write flexible search query, right?
See, collection is not, how should I put it? See, this is how it is. Collection means it's a data type. You have to put it this way. If you write your Java class, your Java class will be like this: class product, int product ID, string product name, collection images. This is how it will be. Okay, when you try to write a query, select the star from product, you will get 3 columns. Now in the result set, that row which is returned out of this, okay, you will return a row, right? Row will be returned. Now row equal to select the star from product. Now this is returning your result set. Now from the row dot get int, if you put, it would give you, this would give you product name, product ID, sorry, right? Now if you say row dot get string, it will give you p name. Now if you say row dot get collection, okay, whatever, it's string collection or whatever it is, if this is how you write, I'm just giving you pseudocode. This will give you images. Now you need to convert this
into appropriate data
to list or set and iterate. Okay, this is how you do it. Now let's say same thing with respect to collection. How will it be? You have class product. You have class product which has int PID, string pname, and you have int image. Okay, image ID. Okay, now you have class image which will have image ID, int image ID, some string image URL, etc., etc., and close this. Now when you try to return the same query, your query will be like this: row equal to select star from product p comma image I, where p dot image ID equal to what is it, I dot image ID, image ID. Now because you have written this way, you will get a value of whatever star will return you data from both product table and image table. So whatever you want, you have to retrieve it, right? So for that you require some row which should store both product plus image columns. You are getting both, right? So your row here, this row is nothing but returning you only from one table. This is returning you only from one table, but this is returning you data from 2 tables. So you need to store the values of both the tables in this relation. So that was what I was trying to say. In a collection you would have only one column, I mean one class concept, but here you have 2 classes and you are trying to map 2 different entities. But here you are only having one product, I mean one table, which with the help of which you are trying to link your columns. At least is this understood, or is this still having a doubt?
Makes sense. It's clear now. Thank you.
Others, any doubt? Go ahead now only. Others, otherwise drop off, because right now I'm done with the class. Like I told you, this is a very lengthy topic. We need to concentrate everything. You miss out one thing, you are losing so much of information. Okay, because this is all about how you construct your tables.
Hello,
okay.
Kiran?
Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah, if you are using collections, kind of you saw like for user we have cart collection, right? So it stores like C1, comma C2, C3 like that, or like
that's it.
So we give the delimiter like how it has to store, or
no, defaultly there are some delimiters configured. You will never bother about the delimiter being comma, semicolon, or anything. If it is comma, try to use string delimiters. Now you will have your split commands and all, right?
Okay.
You can do that.
But it returns as like some kind of collection, and then we convert
you
it
try
to
to
set
write
or
one,
list.
You try to write one flexible search query. When I complete flexible search query concept, I'll tell you. So you try to write a flexible search query, see how the data is being returned. Then you can try to parse and play over it.
Okay.
one query will solve your problem.
Kiran?
Just write one single query, which will return that collection column, and then you can see how the data is written. Then you can try to play around with it. Use string methods to split and get the exact data, substring or whatever you want. You can do that.
Okay.
Kiran?
Yeah, Sudhir.
Do we have any class this weekend, this coming weekend?
No, not on the weekends. Last weekend I took the class only because I missed out 2 classes over the week. That is why. Never I will take a class on weekend. Even I will have some plans.
Because
Because
I missed on Friday, so I wasn't aware of the Saturday one.
okay. No. Saturday I have taken because last week due to rains and some logistics issues, we could not take the class for 2 days or 3 days. That's why I have taken extra class on weekend. Generally, I will never prefer because if I tell weekend related plan, then all of them most of them will already have some existing plans. They must have planned to go out, or probably they have some other alternative plans. I cannot really disturb them, and even I don't want to disturb my plans. That is why. No, nothing on weekends. If the class is there on a weekend, I'll inform you in advance. Last weekend, I'm assuming I asked you guys, right, whether you were interested to take the class or not.
I missed couple classes actually. I missed few more than 2 to 3 classes.
Yeah, you asked us.
Last Friday, I asked you guys, right?
Yeah, you asked. Everybody said they won't. So
That is why I took. Otherwise, I would never take it. Okay, so that's it, guys. So this weekend, no classes. We'll see. Don't worry. Only one more extra class or two more extra classes will be added to our course. Instead of taking it over the weekend, I would prefer taking it over the weekday. Okay. Let's see. Don't worry. It's not about the number of classes. It's about the concept that you are going to learn. Okay. Some concepts you can understand in a jiffy. Some will take lots of time. I was assuming I can start item types today, but no problem. We were still talking about collections because there are doubts. We'll have to clear it. Okay. So tomorrow's class would be about item types. Again, don't miss the class because it's a very, very, very important one. Okay. We'll see it tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.